Baggies fans, football fans, and sports fans, and welcome to the latest matchday preview. It is FA Cup action, Swansea City versus West Bromwich Albion, a game that we played very recently, and it feels some familiar and pivotal all in once. You're here just 2 weeks ago in the league, same opponent, same ground, and the outcome still stings. A 1-0 defeat, short on quality, short on fight, and ultimately one of those performances that just leave us asking bigger questions than the result. Those questions didn't take long to get answered. Since that night in South Wales, Mason has been sacked. The reset button has been hit once again, and this FA Cup marks the beginning of a new temporary era with James Morrison stepping into the dugout on an interim basis. He did it obviously against Luton on the last game of the season last year, a game that we won and scored goals for fun really, so let's hope he can bring that. For a club legend who man who understands what this football club is supposed to be about, it's a huge moment. And for the players, there's no hiding places now. You know, previously they could say, oh, the manager's tactics weren't suiting us, this wasn't it. Doesn't matter now, it's all out the window. Now's your reset point. Now you start showing us that, you know, you can play. Game isn't about progression in the FA Cup, it's about pride, it's about response, and it's about whether this group of players has anything left to give after weeks of frustration and drift. Let's be honest though, returning to the same ground where you lost just a fortnight ago isn't ideal. The memories are fresh, the problems exposed that afternoon haven't magically disappeared. Swansea didn't blow us away, but they didn't need to. They were organised, disciplined and comfortable letting us beat ourselves, something that's becoming a worrying theme this season. That 1-0 defeat summed up a lot of what's gone wrong. Plenty of position in harmless areas, a lack of cutting edge in the final third, and a softness when it came to the decisive moments. Swansea scored, managed the game, and we never really looked under sustained pressure. The challenge on Sunday is proving that that result wasn't a true reflection between the sides. Because if it happens again, especially under a new interim manager, it raises uncomfortable questions about the mentality of the players. A new voice, obviously, is fascinating because obviously James Morrison is in charge, taking the reins, even temporarily. It changes the emotional tone instantly. This is someone who gets West Bromwich Albion. He understands the expectations, the standards, and the frustration supporters are feeling right now because he's lived it on the pitch. You'd expect a few immediate changes, not necessarily a complete tactical overhaul. There hasn't been time for that, but intensity, accountability, and energy. Morrison will demand that. He'll demand bravery, and he'll demand the players remember what it means to wear this shirt. And I think he'll have a good voice in the dressing room. I think a lot of players will respect him. Sometimes as an interim appointment, it can lift the group instantly. Players know clean slates are being offered, fringe players sense opportunity, established names, reputations are on the line. For one game at least, excuses disappear. If Morrison can restore even a bit of pride on the pitch, even a bit of identity, it would make this very uncomfortable afternoon for Swansea. And the big debate for me is, the FA Cup run. And you can understand both sides. On the one hand, the romance of the FA Cup never really does, and that's where I'm in. I would love an FA Cup run. I'd love to be walking down Wembley Way, going to watch the Albion with my dad. It can energise a fan base, take pressure off league form, and create memories that last longer than a mid-table finish ever will. Wembley isn't impossible. We've seen stranger things happen in this competition. On the other hand, there's a realism. The league remains a priority. Consistency has been elusive, performances have been fragile, and some supporters will quietly accept an early FA Cup exit if they meant fully focused on climbing the table and stabilising the season. But here's the thing, momentum doesn't care when it comes to a competition. Winning football matches builds belief, and belief is something the squad desperately needs. Going out meekly, especially against the same side that beat us recently, would do far more damage than a distraction in another cup round could ever. And think about the away games we could get, a lot of games that I've never been to, which would be great to go to on an away game. But I know, again, it spits a lot of opinion for people. This game looks no different from the league meeting. The basics need fixing first. More aggression without the ball, quicker tempo with it, less sideways safety, more forwards intent. Too often we've seen promising situations slow to a crawl, allowing the opponents to reset. The FA Cup is unforgiving. You don't get points for control without penetration. You don't get credit for almost moments. If it's level late on, you need players willing to take responsibility rather than hide behind a structure. Defensively, concentration is non-negotiable. One lap could cost us what it did 2 weeks ago. You can't afford that again. Swansea will be more than happy to let frustration creep in and punish mistakes if we give them the chance. From Swansea's point of view, this is a golden opportunity. They've already recently beaten us. They're at home. They'll sense uncertainty around the club and want to exploit it. The FA Cup represents a chance for them to build momentum, excite the crowd, and knock out a side they believe they have the measure of. They won't change much. Expect organisation, patience, and willingness to let the game come to them. The longer it stays tight, the more pressure shifts onto Albion's shoulders. That's why in the first 20 minutes it really matters. Set the tone early, show intensity, silence the crowd, make it clear that this is a different West Bromwich team that is coming to the one that they last saw previously. Win or lose this match, it will be remembered as a line in the sand. It's Morrison's first ever test this season with a new bunch of players. It's the first players' chance to show what they can do under new leadership. And it's a moment for the club to reconnect even briefly with its supporters. An FA Cup run would be brilliant. Nobody's denying that. But more than that, Sunday's about seeing fight, cohesion and pride. If we go out swinging, if we go out united, supporters will accept the outcome. If we go out flat again, the noise will only get louder. So yes, some may fancy us to exit and focus on the league, but football doesn't work in neat compartments like that. Confidence is built on performances at a time, and this is a perfect stage to start rebuilding something that's been missing. Sunday afternoon in Swansea, familiar surroundings, new voice in the dugout, old competition with new urgency. Let's see if Morrison can spark something and whether this squad is ready to respond. I'm going for an Albion 2-1 win. I really want to see progress in the FA Cup. I really want to see it. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Obviously, don't forget to subscribe as well. We are well on our way to 900 subscribers now. I appreciate each and every one of you. So hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification. We'll be doing a live watch along of the FA Cup action on Sunday as well. So make sure you're in for that one. And let's hope we can get progress and get into the fourth round and see who awaits us in that one. Bye-bye, guys.